Hi Pisces, how are you? Welcome to your September 2017 reading. Thank you so much for being here. So before we begin with the card part of this, I'm going to do just a quick highlight for you in terms of astrology and what's going on in the sky, because we've got so much happening in Virgo. Solar eclipse is behind us, all the planets, the sun, Mercury, well, Mercury's in retrograde right now, and Mars, all transiting, and eventually Venus will get there as well in your 7th house, which is the house of relationships. And there's going to be a lot of focus on what you need to do, whatever you need to do in terms of accomplishing a goal with your partner, or finding a partner, or a lot of focus on just your relationships with others. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It can be other more platonic forms of relationships as well. At some point during the month, all these planets are going to come into opposition with Neptune, which is your ruling planet, which is located in your sign right now. And Neptune blurs the lines, and it can confuse things, and it can cause us to give more of ourselves, or, you know, even in the opposition with Mars, like maybe we're not going to stand up for ourselves in the way that we might normally do, and, you know, kind of operate more on a foundation of hope and a foundation of faith and believing in something without real firm basis for that. So if there is something that arises, okay, and you have this tendency to maybe not be as factual as you might be otherwise, or might not to make a decision based on reality, okay? Just be cognizant of that opposition, and that might be kind of what's going on, that you might be feeling that influence. And now would be a really good time to plan, to make arrangements, make agreements, things like that, so that when this time arises, there's not going to be so much confusion, or that tendency might not be kind of too overpowering for you, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the cards. I'm going to put the camera down, so just give me a second. Kind of a janky setup here, guys, this little table. I don't have anything pretty, but, you know, it is what it is. Just got to get the readings out. I'll probably be buying stuff shortly, and the lighting will adjust in a minute. I know it's kind of whited out right now. But okay, Pisces, let's talk about you and your energies for September 2017. Okay. And the Queen of Swords. So this coming out as the first card represents you. And the Queen of Swords can be, it's interesting that we have Queen of Swords, which is the card of Libra, and I was just talking about a lot of the activity in your 7th house. Libra is the natural ruler of the 7th house, and it does indicate balance. It does indicate a need for an equal amount of give and take, all right? And Queen of Swords can be quite cold when she needs to be, yet the coldness still comes from a place of love, right? She's the server of justice, all right? She has no problem telling it like it is, but diplomatically, you know? And you may take on this more air of a diplomat this month and really act more of like a peacemaker, right? If something kind of comes up, or if you have an argument, or you have some type of issue, then you'll be able to mitigate that and to navigate your way through that strategically. Okay, it's a beautiful card to have come out first. Be careful though of not undermining yourself and not doing things for the sake of pleasing others, because that is also a very Libran energy, a very Libran stereotype, is that they will often do things to appease others, which again, with that Neptunian influence, there could really be a tendency to do that, and to put yourself last, or to put yourself in the back seat to make sure that others succeed, or to make sure that others are getting what they need and what they think they deserve. But you're just as important, you know? Six of Swords. Now, oh guys, I'm using a new deck. It's called the Hermetic Tarot deck. It is black and white. I have been concerned about how it's showing. It's super detailed and probably not the best for YouTube, but it is what it is. I really, really love it, so I'm just going to use it probably this month, maybe next month as well, but maybe not. So Six of Swords is a very peaceful place, and here on this deck they have like the Lords and the Spirit, and this is the Lord of earned success. Meaning what it is you've gone through, and some of you it's all different times frames. Some of you it's just a couple months, some of you it's months and months, you know, 6 months, a year, couple years. There's going to vary for all of you. But there is this essence of, I made it, or I did it. I made it through that. I was able to stay strong enough, and I was able to, in a way, even maintain my dignity through this process. There does seem to be an air of peace going on in all the signs. I think this is the most peaceful readings that I have done in a very, very long time. Not a lot of turmoil. We have Saturn sitting completely still in the sky right now, and it's about to go direct. And I think the flow of things is going to finally start feeling like it's working in your favor. And all this hard work, because the swords are hard work. It's the battle that you're having with your mind, you know, and then the thoughts that come in. And sometimes we don't realize how much control we actually have over our thoughts. And I think right now, this month, you're going to get to a place of like, okay, I feel like I control things. You know, a lot of balance and a lot of control. Now, when I say control, I don't mean like domination over a thing, but self-control, self-mastery. You know what I mean? Control over your responses to things and feeling strong, because the Queen of Swords, she's strong. She exhibits strength. All the kings and queens do. And they're not at the mercy of others. They don't have to be at the mercy of others, you know? And I'm actually loving the sword energy for you right now, because Pisces being a water sign, sometimes it can be that battle, you know, because especially Pisces ruled by Neptune, where you've got this just like, oh, we're all connected, and it's such a deep reach for the spiritual connection that sometimes the physical world and the way things manifest in the physical world, if they manifest themselves in a bad way, it's like almost not enough, right? It's got to manifest itself poorly on a spiritual realm in order for Pisces to be like, whoa, okay, this is not okay. This is not good. This person totally crossed the line. And here you're exhibiting a great amount of, like, I'll use it, the word self-mastery. Five of Pentacles, Lord of material trouble. Well, we do have the money aspect. All earth signs can be associated in some way to finance, okay? Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury being the god of commerce, okay? So, and Mercury is retrograde and will be re-entering Virgo throughout September. So again, focusing on finances, focusing on the things that you have control over. It's very likely that maybe things have gotten a little out of control, or things have gotten a little bit like overlooked, okay, and put in the back burner. When we've got so much happening in an earth sign, it's like, okay, it's time to get these physical world details all taken care of. It's time to reevaluate. It's time to revisit things. It's time to, you know, to make sure that I'm on track in all areas of life, not just money, guys, but I mean, spiritually, where your mind is at, where your life is going, where your education is at, where your career is, like all aspects. How are your relationships doing with your family and your friends? Have you been neglecting your friends? Have they been neglecting you? It's all under the microscope this month, okay? And it's your turn, it's your time to make revision where revision is needed. And to become, you know, put those things into practice, turn them into habits so that they become more natural for you, become more structured. Because right now I'm sensing Five of Pentacles, you know, there's a lack of discipline somewhere in some area of your life. It doesn't have to be financial. Material trouble is symbolic for the physical manifestation. Okay, we've got the four suits, right? Swords, cups, wands, and pentacles. So let's think about this for a minute. Swords representing the thoughts. This is super generic, guys. Thoughts, cups ruling emotions, wands representing the will or the spirit. Okay, it's kind of what gets us up in the morning. It's what makes us eat healthy as opposed to eat junk food kind of thing. And then it's the combination of those three, how they manifest themselves in the physical world. And that's what's happening here. It's the product that you get. So there's been something that has been neglected and you're starting to feel the effects, okay? And this does have a very Taurian, you know, associated with Taurus energy. The thing about this deck, guys, is it does have the astrological connections with the planets and the astrology signs. So you can see Mercury in Taurus. So when we're talking about Taurus, what do we think of? Money and self-worth, both. Self-worth, self-value, how we love ourselves, how we take care of ourselves. Taurus being a very sensual sign, ruled by Venus. Here we have Taurus, Libra, both ruled by Venus, okay? The very sensual side of life, the very sensual, tangible aspects, okay? And the Hermit. Like I said, it's going to be a very quiet month. I'm not expecting a lot of turmoil. I'm not expecting a lot of issues, not a lot of like uproars or anything like that. It's all going to be fairly smooth sailing as indicated here with the Six of Swords. This is a very promising sign of smooth sailing. If you remember in the Rider-Waite deck, it's an image of three people in a boat and they're leaving the tumultuous water, heading into the calm water and the more peaceful horizon, okay? Or the oasis, or however you visualize that to be. So it is about finding stillness, reevaluating yourself. Again, the card of Virgo. So we have that Virgoan energy. Virgos love the retreat, and I'll tell you why. Because Virgos are obsessed with self-mastery. They are obsessed with perfection. Now, that is a thing that does not serve most other signs. Most other signs like go crazy with this idea of like trying to perfect everything. But everyone goes through this. Everyone deals with this quiet space where they take a moment, they take a beat, and they really ask themselves, how can I have the life I want? How can I have the relationship that I want? How can I have the finances that I want? And to be honest with oneself about where you're going wrong. You know, a lot of you are really going to need to look in the mirror. And by the mirror, I don't mean the one in the bathroom. I mean the world around you, your closest relationships, the areas that you are dedicating all your energy. Those are your mirrors. So if some of you are in difficult relationships, you need to look objectively at that relationship and say, what does this say about me? What does this say about my self-worth? Because I'm sitting here at a Five of Pentacles. I want a 10. I'm halfway there. Halfway there to where I want to be. And some of you may have gone through this process already in August, all right? We did have a lot of activity in August. It was a very like hyper month. But now it's like time for you to really come to that level of understanding and start putting it to good use, okay? Now we've got the Magician And he is what? The alchemist. What is an alchemist? An alchemist is someone that knows and understands how to adjust their vibrations and their frequency to begin getting the results in the physical world that they desire. Mind control, self-mastery, all indicated here. Okay, again, another mercurial energy. Mercury, Mercury, Mercury. Why is Mercury? Why is Mercury important? Mercury is... he's the god of so many things. He's how we communicate. He's how we express ourselves. He's how we organize things. He's how we deal with finance. He's how we almost like save our... because let me tell you a little bit about Mercury now. So Mercury was the god of tricks. He was, he was a trickster. He was the messenger of the gods. And he was the only one that was allowed to... go from Mount Olympus to the earth, to the underworld, and all, no limits for him. He's a energy of no limits. And he often would bring people from the underworld to the earth, to the world. He was a savior of some kind, okay? He saved people from Hades and from the underworld. And this is an indication of you essentially saving yourself, all right? Saving yourself from the depths of your own chaos or your own Five of Pentacles situation. And realizing, he's called the Magus of Power. Remember how I said there's all lords and spirits and stuff? So he's the Magus of Power, your power, and truly what's in your control. One thing about Pisces that they're not the most powerful people unless there's certain aspects or planet positions in their chart. And when I say powerful, they're powerful in the spiritual realm, probably unmatched by most other signs. Okay, I'd give like Cancer, Scorpio, the water signs, are in there, but Pisces is ruler of the 12th house. Like there's no boundaries there. But in the world, because it's like kind of your downfall as well, because of this spiritual connection that you feel with everything, it doesn't translate well into the physical world. Whereas like a Capricorn or a Sagittarius or something would have a lot of domination in the physical world. So it's a little bit of a foreign energy for you. And what did I say? It's about mind control, controlling the mind. That's what an alchemist does. And the Eight of Swords reversed. See, you're breaking free from whatever was plaguing you. Whatever was plaguing you, you're starting to like open your mind and be like, oh, I get it. Wow. I see. There's definitely a point of understanding. With the Hermit, Queen of Swords, your mind is your focus. Because it is in the beginning, it begins with the mind where you can attain 10 from 5. 5 of Pentacles, a 10 of Pentacles from a 5 of Pentacles. It is through the mind. So now this month is going to be a test of, 1, truly understanding what it is you want and where you want to go. And 2, having the ability to convert those thoughts and those mental images into emotions, aligning those emotions with action. Okay? King of Wands. So here's your other. A lot of relationship stuff for you. Here is your other. This is a card of Leo. This came out for another sign as well. I forget. But let's talk about King of Wands as an archetype for a moment, because it is the card of Leo. Very strong forced, fixed fire, very aggressive, very, self-assured, egotistical, high level of self-confidence, not a lot of room for admittance of wrongdoing, difficult to attain a point of humility for this person as well. in some realm, the world views this person as being this egotistical, frustrating personality at times, but the way that they see it is they see it that they are sharing their light with the world. And they truly believe on some level that they are doing good. I'm not saying it's a bad person, okay? I'm just saying it's kind of just, let's just talk about the style of this person for a little bit. Essentially, it is a good match for the Queen of Swords, but I'm seeing you heading in opposite directions. So there does seem to be something at odds. You guys can see that. There does seem to be something at odds. This could just be indicative of two people declaring autonomy and independence within a connected relationship. That could be difficult for a Piscean, okay? It could be difficult because it is going to require you to be more, I was going to say more strong, but I'm not trying to imply that Pisces is weak by any stretch of the imagination. Certainly not the case. But I don't really know how else to phrase it, but just to be more, I guess, independent, or to not be so persuaded by the spiritual aspects, I guess. I don't know if I'm describing it properly. Hopefully you guys can understand what I'm saying. King of Wands is such a overbearing, very overbearing, if you will, okay? They're very, you know, when we talk about kings, they represent the air of their element, so like kind of the more left-brained of their element. Someone who is left-brained and who might, you know, you might have a difficult time with how they think about stuff. And you're like, okay, well, they're just kind of in their own little world, so I'm going to need to go into my own little world too, Queen of Swords. I'm just going to stand on my own. I need to do my own thing. Independence is going to be a theme for you, and this Hermit will help you with that. Going into this Hermit mode and really kind of discussing with yourself about who you are and finding an element of self-love, because again, Venus, ruling of Libra and Taurus, and self-love, self-confidence, and someone who does not need a partner. Absolutely not. You can have one, but you're not going to need one this month. You're definitely not going to feel like your happiness depends on them. Oh, we got both coming out. Okay, King of Pentacles and Fortitude, which is strength. So again, we've got the Taurus energies coming down on either side of the Queen of Swords, which gives you, interesting that there's no cups here. No cups, no water. You're not going to be feeling super, you know, in your zone. It's a little bit out of your comfort zone. But let's talk about this. Some of you may be dealing with two people, two personalities. Could be two lovers. It could be two people at work. It could be a lover and someone at work. Or this could represent you as well, I feel. Because it's kind of heading in the same direction, kind of back to back with this King of Wands. So let's talk about, again, Taurus is, there's a stubborn element to Taurus, being notorious for being the most stubborn, but also very self-assured. That's a beautiful quality that I don't think you've had for a while, Pisces. And I'm thinking of my Pisces friends, and I'm like, yeah, they've really been kind of lost in the water. And now is their time to really find their footing, firm footing. And that's what this represents, firm footing, because it's time for you to get yours. It's time for you to get what you want, you know, and to put that responsibility on yourself in a very self-loving way. Self-love and self-respect. Because really ask yourself how much or how little you've really respected yourself by putting up with some of the stuff that you have put up with. Because again, Pisces is notorious for being the martyr, right? Being the one that overgives. That planet Neptune, whether it's Pisces, 12th house, or Neptune, doesn't matter. That's the energy of, you know, give, and no, expecting nothing in return, right? Whereas Venus is more transactional. I'll give to you if you give to me. They can be a little bit opposite, Neptune and Venus, and also Venus and the moon, which is the more motherly aspect. So actually, as I was just saying that, I just got to point it out because we do have the Taurus, Venus, okay? This is a message for you to tap into that inner Venus. And when I say Venus, I often think of like Samantha with Sex and the City. And I said this in another sign as well. It's like super self-assured, really independent, buys the things that she wants because she wants them and it makes her feel good about herself, and makes no excuses for wanting to wear makeup or to wear that super nice designer suit, or, you know, doing the things that allow her to express herself. It doesn't matter male or female, I'm saying she because it's a character in the show, but, you know, to express herself with making no apologies. This is a good month for no apologies. Let's give you that theme. And here's strength to kind of counter that or to work alongside of that. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing for you to recognize within yourself. See, and we have the divine feminine represented here, all right? The divine feminine and the lion, which does represent your physical world. That which must be tamed or that which must be controlled, right? 5 of Pentacles. Some of you may be dealing with a Leo or a very fiery energy because we're getting the 2 cards of Leo here. This is about you this month, guys, 100%. You know, be honest with yourself about what it is that is lacking in your life and what it is that you have done or have not done. You know, the Hermit is about accepting responsibility, and sometimes that can be hard, right? It's hard to admit that, you know, if again, Virgo doesn't like to admit that they're not perfect, but that's how you get better. That's how you become a better, more productive human being, a better, more productive spirit, and become more ascended, is to become more and more familiarized with yourself. Well, the past 6 months or a year has very much been a great deal of resistance, Saturn retrograde. We've all been hitting this brick wall, and now all of a sudden it's releasing. And I think you're going to feel it, and you're going to be like here, smooth waters. You're going to sail, and it's going to be a level that you very likely didn't expect to come to so quickly. And it's a good chance for you to set in motion for the next several months to come until Saturn gets into its home planet, Capricorn, in December, I believe. To set in motion those things that you really want to manifest to get yourself from this 5 to the ultimate goal, which is 10. Okay? All right, Pisces, I'm only doing 9 cards this month. I really hope that you can get something out of it, or you got some insight. I wish you nothing but the best. And that's it. Thank you so much. Bye.